Good evening, everyone. This is Brian again. Tonight's episode I expanded on a little bit on the science vehicle I showed at the end of the last one. This one will come up and basically grab more science at a time, so we're just going to quickly... I've done a lot of these runs, basically collecting science from all around KSC. They're pretty boring. Don't want to show that to you, but look out for this curb here. Got to look out for these when you're wheeling around KSC. That'll flip you over. And by the way, if you do flip over, well, you know, every dog has fleas and needs to itch sometimes. So here's what you do. Oh yeah, scratch that back. Scratch that back. Oh yeah. Anyway, pull the wheels in. Use your torque. Roll it back onto its feet. Extend your landing gear and off you go. I've been flying a lot of contracts too. Those have been completely uneventful, so I'm not going to show you, just basically taking temperature readings elsewhere. This is what I was talking about before with sticking the nose of a wheeled vehicle into the side of a building to get the biome from the building itself. This would be the mission control building biome, if it had one. I noticed that .90 has some of these new buildings, but they don't have biomes. Anyway, that's what you do. You stick your nose into it, engage the brakes, verify with the crew report that you're in the building biome, and then run all your science. You have to come in at an angle because you can't back up. At least not yet. And that hasn't gave me enough funds to go ahead and upgrade the launch pad there. We're going to launch another rocket to... Let's see, which one do I launch first? I'm trying to remember. Okay, looks like it's one last altitude record before going to space. Now remember, if you go to space, those altitude record contracts will disappear, so you want to get those. So we're going to 56,000 meters, I believe, at this point. Here's the vehicle to do it. Again, I want to land this thing, so it needs to be kind of wide and squat if possible, so I use the tri-radial coupler at the top. This one can actually go all the way into orbit. I tested this in a simulation run. We only need a little bit of fuel here. So I'm taking fuel at the bottom of the tank so that the mass stays up at the top. You know, remember, you have to keep your mass in front of your center of lift, or you will tend to spin out, just like throwing an arrow backwards. So here we go, lifting off from the new and improved launching area. Basically just going straight up. This is at 3 times speed. I'm actually going a little kind of slow here. I'm trying to maintain good fuel efficiency and not go too high. And higher. Coming up on the record. So throttle way down to slow down. Got the record. Now going up, this craft wandered quite a bit, and we're up here long enough that the rotation of the planet plays a factor, so I gotta check the map and then kind of burn back towards the space center there. Remember, the planet's going to rotate on the way down too, so I don't want the landing spot to be right on KSC. I want it a little bit east of KSC, so the planet will rotate right underneath me. This looks about right. And on the way down, as we get into thicker atmosphere, I can actually steer this, kind of like imagine a plane here, flying nose down, so I can angle the craft to where I want it to go within this area here. And at some point, the air gets thick enough that it overwhelms my controls. The air is just under control now. Luckily, it's more or less pointed in the right direction. Wait till thicker atmosphere to slow you down, deploy the chutes, drop the landing gear, and have a tiny bit of fuel left here to help slow down. Try to keep the landing below about 8 meters per second. And there we are. Now, this was an interesting flight I did. This is your basic temperature scan, and on the way back I noticed here in the Highlands was a nice flat spot where I could probably land and do the rest of the science experiments that I've been carrying along here on this trip. Highlands can be kind of hilly, so if you see a flat spot, take note of it. This is kind of northwest of the KSC. Those are the same mountains you see to the west of the KSC right there. I've gotten pretty much all the science I can by flying over these biomes. Now I need to start landing in them to get more. Now, if you do this, make sure you take into account the slow throttle up of jet engines if you need those to help slow down. There we go. Just a little bit of control input there at the end there to keep the thing upright. And you might be wondering, how in the world is he going to land back at KSC with no parachute? Well, you can actually repack them. I placed these parachutes here for a reason, right next to the cockpit, within reach of the ladder. Gravity here is so high that, of course, he can't let go or climb around. Well, he can't climb around without a ladder, but he can't let go either. He would never be able to RCS back up to the command capsule here. Of course, I forgot to pack the chutes there for a minute, so I got back out and do it for real. Okay, ready to go for landing number 2. Time to fly home. Got to rearrange the staging. And off we go. Now you might be asking yourself, why does he always pull upside down when flying up like this? Well, the reason is simple. The human body, Kerbals are probably the same, can withstand many positive Gs, around 9 or 10 positive Gs, but negative Gs, if you push your nose down, blood rushes into your head, into your eyeballs, very bad for you. You can only withstand about 2 to 3 of those. Okay, it's time to send a vehicle up into orbit. Now this will be a reusable vehicle launch again. I'll take you into the VAB. This will be the same craft that we set the last altitude record with. And this will be a noon launch. What I plan to do is launch into a somewhat inclined orbit, about 20 degrees or so. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do EVA reports on as many biomes as I possibly can. I know I cannot do the tundra at the top and the polars at the top. Those are just too heavily inclined. We won't have the feel for that. But with 20 degrees, I should be able to overfly the Badlands, which are right in here. These are right below the equator. And with that inclination, I should be able to hit every other biome on the planet. So grasslands, highlands, desert, mountains, water, Badlands. I think that's it. And I'm hoping I can do that in a single day, because when the KSC is on this point right here at noon again, should be able to cross right in. It should be right under my orbit again, and then I can do a re-entry burn. I don't want to put a Kerbal into orbit for longer than that, because this is a Mark 1 capsule. I haven't seen the mod update for what do you call it? Oh gosh, TAC Live support. But I can still play as if it's installed. So that's the plan. One day, easily doable in a Mark 1 capsule. Gordon Cooper did, I think, 36 hours in the Mercury capsule, so shouldn't be too big of a problem. Alright, and I gotta make sure here that craft I'm about to launch, I think it's 26,000 funds. If I lose that completely, I want to make sure that I still have enough funds to build another one of those planes and go get more funds, which I can at 77,000. So everything looks good. I've updated my administration building so I can go on EVA and collect science. I've also placed a flag out here now that I've upgraded my astronaut center for my landing target. Alright, here goes nothing. Okay, here's the vehicle. Same one as before. This time with fully loaded fuel tanks. Looks like the staging's correct. Let's go ahead and launch. Now I do know a couple... Ooh, that was close. Yeah, it's sitting around the engines. I do know a couple of problems with this craft here. I got to lock off a couple of these fuel tanks so that my center of mass does not shift below my center of lift on during the launch up. Another big limitation. The limitation is 30 parts. I really need to upgrade that VAB over there. So with that limitation, I had to kind of skimp on. Oh, you know what? I could probably take that off. Oh well. Anyway, I had to skimp on battery power and solar regeneration. So I have to be very careful to keep this thing pointing at the sun to keep the batteries up. Alright, let's get started. Remember, we're going for 20 degrees south inclination. Steering this rocket. For some reason, these tricouplers, I've never had one where the center of lift actually works out to be right in line with the center of mass, so this is probably going to be kind of a pain in the butt to steer. Alright, time to start pitching. On a lot right now, especially my course, trying to keep it within that velocity vector, my fuel, because I can't let it get too low, and of course my speed. At some point here I'm going to have to click around and unlock all those fuel tanks too. So the inclination is going to be a little bit high. I'm having trouble getting it down below 45 degrees. Let's see how we're doing here. Okay, it's looking pretty good. It looks like we're going to hit 22 degrees after all. Okay, here we go. 77,108. Alright, not bad. Orbit and escape atmosphere contracts are done. Let's go ahead and get Jeb out here. Let's see if we can do a crew report. That's good. Yeah, let's go EVA. Kerbin's water. Let's see what happens if I transmit this home. Grasslands. Did not plan for him to float away. I do not like that. Looks like we have mountains coming up. That's good. Oh, shores. Almost forgot. Grasslands. I think I missed it. Sweet. Highlands. Mountains. Okay, let's get in. Transmit that back. Okay, that cut back my charge a whole lot. Let's get this thing pointed towards the sun. And let's see where we are on the map. Okay, next stop, Badlands. So if you float away, you hit R to enable the RCS. You can also do L for lights. And then your WASD keys. You can do Q and E, and you can also do Shift and Control, or the up and down. Those are the ones people usually miss. The others are just like everything else. Now the Badlands are hard to get. They're spotty. Badlands, yes, finally. Keep data. Enter capsule. Okay. Electricity's looking alright. I'm going to turn this a little bit. Catch some of the last of the sun here. Well, maybe it's too late for that. Okay. Just turn SAS off to conserve electricity and just drift across the planet. So I think I got everything. Grasslands, highlands, mountains, water. Still need shores. Got the Badlands. Desert. We need desert. Desert is going to happen way over here. In fact, I can just speed everything up until I get there. Definitely over the desert now. Looks like the sun is charging nicely. Whee! Above the deserts. Keep data. Board. Alright, let's transmit all this back home. Boom, that's all done. Let's see. Yeah, 113 science, more like it. Okay. So now, the only thing he has left to do is simply wait until... Let's see, I should probably orientate this craft a little better. point it kind of north. Okay, it's pointed north. Rotate so we get the solar panel there and the light as much as possible. 88%, okay, that's good enough. So now that should charge up nicely. I'm going to leave him. Oh, you know what? I can still get the shorts. I almost forgot. Yes, got it. Go ahead and transmit that back. Okay. 121, so that was 100 science points for this mission so far. We'll get more when we recover this vessel. But it's going to take some time for the planet. This is where KSC needs to be to do my landing. So, as you can see, orbit stays the same, planet just rotates east to west underneath it. Eventually, this flag I placed will be right under there. And in the meantime, I have a little bit of time here to fly another mission, to fly some more money missions. So, let's go back to the Space Center. Thanks for watching. In the next episode, you will see whether or not I can land on this ridge. Good night. Oh boy, I gotta land close to that one. Oh boy, this could be interesting. Alright.